Hi, my name is Emily Davis. I'm the founder of Humans for Justice, an organization dedicated to anti-human trafficking efforts. Today, I'm going to interview a survivor of human trafficking.
I was kind of like a mute growing up. I didn't really talk much. And when I was 4, that's when the first incident happened where my uncle stayed in the basement, and one day he called me into the bathroom. He was like, "Hey, you want to play a game?" And I was like, "Sure." And it started out with him just like touching me while touching himself. And it hurt me, but I didn't really say anything because he was my uncle, and I kind of looked at him like, this is just a game. He's like, I'm probably just being a crybaby or whatever. And so I didn't really say anything about it. And my mom said that around that age I started like acting out more and talking more, but she didn't really think anything of it. She just thought I was going through like a phase of being a toddler. And I guess when I was 5, it kind of progressed from just him touching me to touching himself to him penetrating me, and that hurt even worse. And I really wanted to say something about it. But he told me if I told anyone, then like I would just be a crybaby, and that I would get in trouble, and I would get him in trouble, and it would be bad and mean of me to do that. And I didn't want to be mean. I was just a child. And then I guess he met some other friends of his that were into, I guess, molesting children. He was only 13 when he started raping me. So I was 4, he was 13, he's 9 years older than me. So when I was 5, he was 14, and he brought in some friends who were older than him. They would just watch the act at first and sort of like touch themselves as well. And then a couple of months later, they'd come more frequently, and then they would perform acts on me as well. And I didn't know that he could possibly be selling me out at that time until I learned about human trafficking in the future. I didn't really know what rape was or anything. My parents didn't discuss that thing with me. I didn't know what sex was. I just knew that it was painful and I had no one to talk to. And one day, my grandma walked in on it. She didn't say anything. So I thought maybe this is normal. Maybe I shouldn't complain about this. Maybe it's something that happens to every other kid, and it's something I just have to get through. So I felt if my grandma's okay with it, then what's the point of telling my mom or anyone? And it progressed to more and more people coming each day. My parents I don't know where they would be. My mom would probably be taking an evening nap. My dad would be at work, or my mom would go grocery shopping or something.
How old were you at this point?
I was 6 at this point. Yeah, it became more frequent. I remember after my birthday party, he had like a lot of friends over. It was a huge gathering, and after the birthday party, everyone slept over, and he forced his girlfriend on me. He told her to prepare me. And then his friends joined in, and then he joined in, and it got more violent. They would smack me, hit me, throw me around, pass me along. And this was my birthday.
You can take a breath if you need to.
Thank you. And at this point, I started to think to myself, why me? Like, if this is normal, why do kids have to go through this? And I had mentioned it to my older brother, or tried to, but I was still very terrified of saying anything, so I kind of hinted it, and I guess he hadn't catched on, so it continued for another year. And at this point, it kind of died down a little bit more. And then it got to the point where he would trick me into, so I try to avoid it at all costs, and he would trick me. He would see that I'd be going outside to like play we had a tree house, so he'd see that I was about to go and play in the tree house, and there would be like one of his friends in the tree house already, and I was just kind of trapped in there. I couldn't get down. There was only one way out. And so I just went back in the house, and he was just like, you can't avoid it. It's going to happen either way. And I don't know, I was just terrified. So when I was 7, I finally just blatantly told my older brother, like, hey, this is happening to me. I'm not sure if it's normal. I don't know what to do. I don't want it to happen anymore. It's not fun. It's not a fun game for me if it is a game. And my brother's like, oh, you're being raped. My own sister is being raped by my uncle, who I thought was like my best friend. And I don't know, I felt terrible that I had told on this person that was doing all these things to me. And I kind of felt like I was in trouble when cops came to my school in the middle of the day and was like, hey, we need to interview you. Like, I felt like I was in the wrong. And the only support I really had was from my older brother. I guess my family, I learned later on that my family kind of has a history of doing this. My dad went through it. My dad's family went through it. They were kind of like, they do human trafficking as a living. My dad's mom was a human trafficking victim by my dad's father. And yeah, like, it's just been a history in my dad's side of the family, and so they kind of pushed it underneath the rug. They act like it never happened, and they would often bring this person, my uncle, around me even after I had told them all these things, even after he was locked up in jail for 6 months for doing these things to me.
Under what charges was he locked in jail?
I don't really know because I was a child then.
Mm-hmm.
I do know that I didn't really tell the cops everything because I felt like I didn't really want to say anything besides what they asked. They would just ask me, did he touch you here? Did he touch you there? I kind of felt like I was in trouble at the time because there were these police officers in front of me. And he was charged as a minor because it happened from the span of when he was 13 to 16. And I know that he was charged for incest, and that's all I really remember. My mom doesn't really like talking about it, so she doesn't really tell me how these things happen. I just know that I wasn't the only person he raped that was in my immediate family. He raped my older brother when he was 8 and my older brother was 4. So.
Mm-hmm. Since your family still lets him around, do you ever fear that you could be sucked back into the system again?
No, since my father is no longer in the picture, I don't really have to be around them anymore. So I feel a lot safer now, but I do know that my father still lives in the area, so I feel like if he did find out that I did this, then he would come after me.
Yeah.
Because it's a norm for him. He's been through it himself, and he's just kind of like, that's a part of life. He doesn't really understand that it's wrong.
Yeah.
That he was wronged as a child, and so was I. And his mom was wronged, his sister was wronged. He doesn't realize that. He just thinks it's a part of life. That it's normal.
I see. Is there anything that you would like to say to the community around us about human trafficking and to any possible victims that are still afraid to come out?
To the victims, I just want them to know that it's not their fault, because it does. It feels like it's your fault, and if you don't have anyone supporting you, then just be strong, because it's going to affect them for the rest of their life. Like, I still have PTSD, and I get triggered from movies and stuff like that, so,
Yeah.
like, I couldn't even watch your presentation because it just,
Of course.
yeah, so, I'm just so sorry that they have to go through it, and especially if they're not as oblivious to things as I was when I was little,
Yeah.
especially if they know what's going on to them. I feel like they're very strong people to be
Yeah.
going through that.
That's why they're survivors instead of victims.
Yes.
You're a survivor. So you're surviving every day that you went through this, and it's still surviving to just live with the memories of what happened to you and to work through it. But there's so much hope, and there's going to be so much awareness to this cause because of what you are doing right now. And things are going to change. I'll be sure of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.